Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Democrats.
Good morning, Casey.
Thank you, Eileen. What a great day to be a Democrat and in Oregon, and a great day to be inside. All righty. Well, I'd like to welcome you now to the Saturday version of the 2019 Oregon Summit. And we'll just get this thing going since we're running a little bit behind. We've got a lot of great speakers to you, but I'd like Michelle Risher, our vice chair, to come up to the stage and get you started. Michelle.
All right. Good morning, y'all. We are so glad to have y'all here with us this weekend. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who have made this event possible. Our platinum sponsors, Senator Ron Wyden, IBEW Local 48, AFSCME Council 75, Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians, International Association of Machinists, International Union of Painters and Allied Trades District, Council 5, King Estate Winery, Morel Inc., NGP Van, Oregon Education Association, Pacific Northwest Regional Council of Carpenters, SEIU, Senator Mark Hess, candidate for Secretary of State, and USCW Local 555. For more sponsors, please see page 8 of your program.
We'd also like to give a big thank you to our volunteers who are donating their time this weekend. You can recognize them by their purple name tags. If we could give them a little round of applause. Additionally, you may see press here this weekend with noticeable bright pink name badges. Lastly, a special thank you to the DPO staff who are ensuring this weekend runs smoothly. You can recognize them by yellow flags on their badges if you ever need assistance. Back to you, Casey.
All right, Pete. Thank you, Vice Chair Pete Lee. So, yeah, Pete. Yeah, Michelle. All right, for our first speaker, Ellen Rosenblum, our Attorney General. I am proud to say Ellen and I share a birthplace. Oregonians bear with. We're both born in Berkeley, California. Maybe that's why we're such strong Democrats. In 2012, Ellen ran and then was appointed Attorney General for the state of Oregon. As she ran her campaign, she pledged to run on social issues, which, by the way, made the marijuana lobby very, very happy. She's been a fighter with the other attorney generals across the country, fighting against the hideous and malicious activity of the Trump administration. For that, she deserves a big hand as many times as we can give it to her. She runs a great office. She runs a wonderful consumer affairs division, by the way, which I've had to use a couple of times. I highly recommend it. And she sings a mean karaoke. Everybody, Attorney General of the state of Oregon, Ellen Rosenblum.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you for your leadership. Let's have a round of applause for Casey. Woohoo! And good morning, fellow Democrats. I want to thank you for this special opportunity to address you all today. This is actually my third time since becoming a statewide elected to get to welcome you to this summit breakfast. And there is something exceptionally exciting about this moment, this energy, and this DPO today in Oregon. So thank you to the DPO. Thank you to everyone for coming together. This is such a great opportunity to see friends, to make new ones, and to seal the deal for the strength of the Oregon Democratic Party's successes going forward. We are advocates for not just the great organizations represented in this room, but for all Oregonians struggling to obtain the rights and privileges that we all deserve to enjoy. The people we care about are depending on us to make things better for the most vulnerable in our state. In these last 3 years, I need a sip of water for this one. While the Trump administration has made the worst of our worst fears come to pass, our shouts of resistance in Oregon have turned to an all-out roar, right? And it is clear that no matter who's nominated by our party to run for president, Oregon will continue to be in the forefront because of who we are and because of the people in this room who worked so tirelessly for the progressive values of our party. So thank you, thank you. While our country prepares for the 2020 elections, I'm proud to say that the pace of my team's initiatives to curb the vile rhetoric and actions of the Trump administration has only increased. From the day this president was elected and then hired the most unethical Republican state attorney general in the country, Scott Pruitt, boo, to be the head of the EPA, and of course we're rid of him now, but you remember back then, it wasn't that long ago, we knew there was real trouble ahead. You may not know that every Tuesday morning, I have a standing phone call with 27 of my best friends, the Democratic State Attorney General colleagues that I have all over the country. And since we began these calls after the first ill-conceived and truly inhumane executive order banning Muslims from entering America, we state attorney generals have considered ourselves to be the first and often the last line of defense against the Trump administration, perhaps our own brand of Justice League. This has led to the Oregon Department of Justice joining well over 20 major lawsuits against the federal administration in the past 3 years. Together with my attorney general colleagues all over the country, we blocked Trump's racist Muslim ban over and over. Together, we have defended Dreamers and the DACA program. Just a week ago, we filed our brief in the United States Supreme Court to keep our DACAs here at home once and for all. We have spearheaded efforts in our states to reduce gun violence, hate crimes, and police profiling. We have protected consumers from deceitful practices and scams, and we have kept a discriminatory citizenship question off the 2020 census. You know, even the United States Supreme Court saw through that one. Wasn't that something? And just over a week ago, we stopped the cruel and the misguided public charge rule from going into effect. Yes. And because Oregon has shown itself to be the shining star of women's reproductive freedoms, 21 states joined me as we have led the attack against the Title X gag rule. Now, stay tuned on that one, okay, because it's still in the courts, but I will not stand for this blatant attempt to defund Planned Parenthood and deprive women of contraceptive and other basic health care. Oregon has launched more than 100 environmental actions and joined many of them as well in an effort to keep the Trump administration from destroying our precious environment. Most recently, we joined 13 states, including, of course, California, in suing over our authority to set our own tighter emission standards. That's just one of the more than 100 environmental actions that we have taken. We have championed the defense of students, teachers, organized labor, workers, members of the LGBTQIA+ community, women, immigrants, and people with disabilities. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this work, and I certainly want to add that I appreciate so much the opportunity to work with my co-electeds, and especially over the sessions that I've been involved with our amazing legislators. Let's hear it for all of our fantastic legislators in this state. They are so great. They are so great to work with, and they work so hard. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of this work, and I cannot say how strongly your help and support has been to me, how much I appreciate it. Without the backing of the Democratic Party of Oregon, I simply could not do this work, and nor could my colleagues across the country do the work without the strength and the support of their party as well. You are helping to raise the standards of what it means to be a public servant, and for that I am truly, truly grateful. This summit is so incredibly important, and no, not just for the connections we will forge, and there are many, the causes we will champion, and there are many, or the decisions we will cast. I hope that after we all return to our communities tomorrow, we will reflect on the great privilege it was to be together in this room today, fighting for what and for whom we believe in. There are single parents working 3 jobs to pay their families' health costs, elderly people struggling to get by as the cost of living outstrips their Social Security, and college graduates, sometimes not even graduates, but casualties of for-profit school mills, burdened with decades of student loans. Some of these people know that you are here, that we are here today, but others have no idea. But all of them are here in spirit because they know that Oregonians change the world. We don't wait for the world to change around us. So thank you for the great opportunity to be with you today, and I look forward to the sessions this afternoon, and I love you all.
Keep it going for our wonderful Attorney General, everybody. Good morning, Democrats. Good morning, Democrats. All right, let's wake up. I know the snow and the slush and the early morning has us a little slow to get going this morning. Hi, everybody. My name is Travis Nelson, and I'm one of Oregon's 3 elected DNC members. In my day job, I'm a proud member of the Teamsters, the Oregon Nurses Association, the American Federation of Teachers, and the Washington State Nurses Association helps to keep the lights on at my place. We are Democrats. I don't need to give you a speech on why labor matters or how labor is under attack by Republicans in DC and here at home. We know it all too well in this post-Janus world. That's why I'm so glad that our labor commissioner is a fierce advocate for workers and civil rights. It's in her blood. She grew up in a proud labor household and was a champion for labor while serving as House Majority Leader. Val is one of us. She's a former county party chair. Shout out to the Democratic Party of Lane County. She understands the value of grassroots organizing, coalition building, and teamwork. She's an ally who fights tirelessly for labor, marginalized communities, and our progressive values. Everybody, please give it up for our labor commissioner, Val Hoyle.
Good morning, fellow Democrats. It is a good day to be here, and it is a good day to be a Democrat. So I will tell you, the first day that I registered to vote, I registered as a Democrat. And I registered as a Democrat because I knew that was the party that stood up for working people. I just last week was talking to my sister-in-law, and she's running for city council in Wayne, New Jersey, trying to flip their city council. And the local people that were helping her on her campaign said, "Don't put Democrat on your mailers." And I'm like, why wouldn't you? At this point in time, why wouldn't you? See, it's somehow we think that if we walk away from our base and we are quiet about our democratic values, that somehow disaffected Republicans are going to come in and make up for the base that we walk away from. That's not true. So I said to her, put Democrat, because people want to vote for someone who will stand for something. They don't want to vote for someone who stands for nothing. And that is why, with your help, I was able to win election in May with 52% of the vote, winning 17 counties, right? 17, and not just progressive counties, 17 counties because of the work of the people here in this room, and I won't forget that. So when I took office on January 7th, and I got to have the job where we oversee investigating civil rights for this state, wage and hour rules for this state, and expanding apprenticeship opportunities, we're the state where 7.1% of our apprentices in the building and construction trades are women. That's the second highest in the country. But it's 7.1%, it's still low. The average is 2%. And I want to get that number to double digits, and you're going to help me by letting everyone know that there are jobs available. There are jobs available in the building and construction trade, and when we talk about social, economic, and environmental justice, the fact of the matter is poverty is bad for the environment, and if we can use apprenticeships to do training, to have people paid while they learn and have a middle to high wage job without crippling student debt, you know what we're doing? We're making Oregon stronger. That's right. You can clap for that because it's a really good thing. But we can also do things when we think about the building and construction trades, is invest in things like new water pipes so that our children aren't drinking leaded water. We can invest in rural broadband so that we can bring economic opportunity to rural Oregon, right? We can have apprentices for whether it's professional firefighters or foster care workers or other working in IT. The bottom line is we're providing those opportunities. And finally, what I can say is I believe that this should be an Oregon that is fair and safe for all people. So I don't say anything different in a Chamber of Commerce meeting than I'm saying here today, because I don't think standing up for working people and protecting workers is bad for business. It is not, because we need a fair playing field. And those people that are following the law should not have to compete with those people who aren't paying full freight. And my job is to make sure that we take those people who just made a mistake and we help them do better. And we take those people who are making money on the backs of working people and we hold them accountable. And you can be sure that I will do that 100%. So, the other thing that we're doing is for the first time in 20 years, we will have staff east of the Cascades with a new apprenticeship and technical assistance person, right? So we're hiring for that. And thanks to Representative Paul Evans, we will have a veterans apprenticeship coordinator specifically focused on reaching out to veterans throughout this state and helping them find good paying jobs in apprenticeship. And I was talking to this woman who I'm hoping, everyone hoping, will take the job, and she's down in the southeast, and I said, look, you know, it's not humid in the summer. The state's run by women. We're super progressive, and we stand up for working people. And she's like, that gives me a lot to think about. That sounds wonderful. I did hire a new team of people to come in and run different parts of my agency, nationally ranked people. We have Sonia Ramirez, who joined us from the National Building Trades and AFL-CIO, right? Really amazing. Carol Johnson, who came to us, who is running the Fair Housing Division in Arkansas. She's nationally ranked civil rights attorney, and with her leadership and with the help of Senator Shemia Fagan and Speaker Tina Kotek, we will be investigating housing discrimination cases again. We stopped doing that a few years ago. We will do that under her leadership. And then Steve Sims is running our apprenticeship programs, and again, we are expanding them. Every single one of my division directors is a person of color, and every single one of my division directors is incredibly qualified and nationally recognized in their field, because I believe it's not enough to say that we want diversity. I think that we need to have leadership that looks like what Oregon looks like and empower those people to change the conversations, Not just have the same conversations, but actually make it look differently. That's what my agency is. I'm proud to be your labor commissioner. Thank you for helping me get here. And now, because I'm not running for the first time since 2010, right? It's so awesome. I will be helping other Democrats get elected. My good friend Tobias Reed, my good friend Rosenblum, whoever wins the Democratic Secretary of State race, I will be there. We can't afford to lose the Secretary of State race. We have to win. We have to fight in every county, in every part of this state, from Portland to John Day to Ashland to Astoria. We're going to fight. We're going to win, because when you stand up for working people, you know what? People vote for you. Thanks so much.
Buenos dias. Oh, you all are bilingual. I love it. Aren't you all proud of our state delegates? Yeah. I mean, hearing them speak this morning was better than the presidential debates, in my opinion. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Tobias Reed. Now, Tobias is the treasurer of the state of Oregon, not to be confused with the treasurer of the Democratic Party of Oregon. That would be my job. Tobias is a problem solver. He understands that financial empowerment, wise investments, and sound management are foundational to improving the quality of life and economic opportunity for Oregonians. And it's key to the long-term vitality of our state. From instituting full-day kindergarten, to establishing a rainy day fund to boost the state's credit rating, to implementing a first-in-the-nation state-based retirement savings program, Oregon Saves, to help put more Oregonians on the path to secure financial future, Tobias is taking bold steps to these ends. Tobias sits on the Oregon Investment Council and State Land Board and oversees public investing, banking, bonding, and financial empowerment programs like the Oregon College Savings Plan and the ABLE Savings Plan, which allow our families to save for higher education, job training, and disability-related expenses. Tobias earned his bachelor's degree from Willamette University and is Go Ducks. Just play. This is not my show. He also earned his MBA from the Michael G. Foster School of Business at the University of Washington. He lives in Beaverton with his wife, Heidi, and his 2 children. Again, Tobias is the treasurer for the state of Oregon, and I am the treasurer for the state party. I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can tell us apart. He's about 6 inches taller than I am. He has blonde hair. He has light eyes. I have dark brown ones. And he actually appreciates sports. I don't. Without further ado, help me welcome Tobias Reed.
Good morning. Thank you, Eddie, for that very kind introduction and clearing up any confusion that might remain. I know this has been a problem for us over time, so keep our treasurers straight. I'm really happy to be here this morning. For me, the DPO Summit is a wonderful opportunity for committed, passionate, informed people like all of you to come together and support each other as we work to move our state forward. So I'm really honored to be here. And I'm excited to take a few minutes to tell you about what we're doing at the Oregon State Treasury to improve Oregonians' financial security and increase the opportunities that are available. Now, I think I know what you might have been thinking when you were looking at the agenda this morning. That here's the Attorney General, here's the Labor Commissioner, here's the County Commissioner, but thank goodness there is a numbers guy here to talk to me about compound interest, right? joking aside, I am a numbers guy, and I am going to talk about compound interest. But what I really want you to know is that while I'm a numbers guy, as I think every state treasurer has to be, I'm a numbers guy who really cares deeply about Oregon families and about the communities where we're all lucky enough to live. And as I get the chance to travel around the state and interact with people in those communities, what I hear is a level of anxiety amongst those folks. People are anxious about their future job prospects, and not just for themselves, maybe more importantly for their kids. And when they look in their bank accounts, they don't always see enough to cover the really predictable financial emergencies that can be just around the corner. They see their rent, they see their groceries, they see their utility bills going up faster than their paychecks, and they're worried about whether they're going to be able to retire. The interesting thing about these concerns is that they're felt by everyone, no matter where a person lives, no matter what kind of work they do, no matter who they vote for. Now, if you were to ask me if I think government can solve every one of these problems or address every one of these challenges, as real as they are, I don't think I can honestly say yes. But I think we have the opportunity, and especially as Democrats, we have the responsibility to try to make things a little bit easier for Oregon families, a little bit easier to invest in themselves, a little easier for them to save for their future and for their retirement, and a little easier for people and businesses to succeed economically. That's a lot of the work that we do at the State Treasury, trying to rebuild and strengthen our shared sense of the common good. We're the bank for state agencies. We're the bank and investment shop for state agencies and local governments who choose to use us. And we help support infrastructure around the state by building affordable housing, schools, roads, hospitals, pipes, as the Labor Commissioner talked about, because we sell and manage all the state's bonds and look after the state's credit rating. But we also work really hard to build a culture of savings and financial empowerment, and we have the programs to do it. As you already heard, we're working to help people take advantage of compound interest, to invest in themselves and for their families, because what we want is for time and incremental savings to work for people. We're facilitating the first in the nation opt-out retirement savings plan for people who didn't have this opportunity at work. It is worth applauding. We're the first in the country to do it. It's already helping thousands and thousands of people save for their retirement. And the feeling that you get when you watch people light up as they talk about the experience is really inspiring. It's called Oregon Saves, and I hope you're helping us spread the word and that you're as proud of it as I am. We also run the state's college savings plan. There's lots of exciting innovation in that front as well, and we're among the nation leaders in running a disability-related savings program called Oregon Able. Now, as I think part of being a Democrat is about looking to the future, and as we turn our attention forward, I think it's really clear that Oregon needs a shared prosperity agenda. We need to be talking about creating more opportunities, ensuring fairness, and providing financial security for Oregon families. And we should be talking a lot more, all of us should be talking a lot more about compound interest. As a state, I think we need to be doing a lot more to help Oregonians secure the job training and post-secondary education opportunities they need to compete. We need to make it easier for families to save for their children's college and career training needs. We need to reinvest in higher education, and we need to get serious about addressing student loan debt. This is a place where compound interest is really important. We need to have a conversation about fairness. We need to expand investments in small businesses, and in particular, in minority, women, and veteran-owned firms. And we need to expand investment in rural communities, because we know if we're not going to be able to move forward together if we're not creating opportunities everywhere in Oregon. And we should finally, I think, provide opportunities, more and more opportunities for families to use the tools they need to be financially secure. Programs like Oregon Saves are central to this effort, and we're going to continue looking for ways to expand retirement security to all Oregonians. So I'm really honored to be here today as I look out on this crowd and think about the campaign and the work to come. I am optimistic and hopeful. It might cause some of you to question my sanity, but I don't see any other way to be. We've all got work to do, and with the talent and energy assembled in this room, I have no doubt that we're going to be able to do it. So I appreciate you being here, appreciate you letting me talk, and look forward to continued conversation. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Treasurer Reed. All right, the sports guy, as opposed to the other non-sports guy. I'm going to teach you. All right, okay. For our next speaker, I'm really proud to introduce Laurie Stegman. She's my Multnomah County Commissioner, not just because I am in Multnomah County, but because I am in East Multnomah County, where she is too. In the early 90s, I came to Oregon and cut my teeth in 1992 campaign, No on 9, and you heard Pete speak about it last night. It was tough, and what we knew as gay community activists is that we had to persuade, regardless of label, we had to convince people of the rightness and humanity of our side. We didn't care what labels people had, we just worked hard, and good people with all kinds of designations by their name worked with us. As I came to the Democratic Party in 2004, I learned about other folks that had been converted over. I learned about Wayne Morris. I learned about Ben Westland. And I learned about what a tremendous influence they had on the party in doing good work as they became Democrats. The Democratic Party of Oregon dinner is named after Wayne Morris. So now we fast forward to Laurie Stegman, who not so recently was not a Democrat. But Laurie Stegman has always been a wonderful community activist in Gresham. Gresham, go Gresham. She didn't think a lot about what label was by her name. She was focusing on the things that needed to be done in her community, especially for marginalized communities. Of course, I'm very happy to tell you that she is now bona fide, very strong Democrat, Laurie Stegman. So it's now my pleasure to introduce to you my Multnomah County Commissioner, and we will proceed it with a video because Molly's pointing that out. I know. Thank you, Molly. Everybody give Molly a hand. Yay! So let's welcome Laurie Stegman, and we'll show you a video while we do that. All right, Laurie, where are you?
And now, after 40 years in the Republican Party, one elected official in Oregon is saying, enough.
I wanted to share some great news, and I wanted you to be one of the first to know that I have changed my political party.
Yes!
Laurie Stegman is out front. She's the Multnomah County Commissioner in Oregon. I'm sorry if I didn't quite get the full county name right, Laurie, but let me just ask you. You've been a Republican your whole life, okay? And in a country where you have two parties, that can be a very important part of identity. You're an elected official. It's been a really important part of yours. Why are you now switching parties?
Well, that's an excellent question. It really hasn't been just one thing. It's been a culmination of the things that have happened that the Trump administration has come down upon the American people. And for me, I'm an orphan, an immigrant, and with the family separation of children, that was really the final straw for me. And so it was something very personal to me.
And I mean, I can hear the emotion in your voice. I mean, so some people might say, okay, well, Trump has said, when he said they're rapists, or obviously the infamous tape that he said. Let me just play a couple of things he said well before this whole separations at the border. Here it is.
I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the could do anything.
We have a very hostile judge because, to be honest with you, the judge should have thrown the case out on summary judgment. But because it was me and because there's a hostility toward me by the judge, tremendous hostility, beyond belief, I believe he happens to be Spanish.
So those are just two examples. But I think, Laurie, what's interesting is you're saying all of that added up, but it really was what has just been happening at the southern border that made you change your mind and your party.
Yeah, I mean, the Trump administration and President Trump, the misogyny, the racism. I serve on a board, an all-women Multnomah County Commission board. Our board is the first majority-minority board in nearly 165 years. I'm the first Asian American, I'm the first Korean American to ever serve on the board. This is not the ideals and the beliefs that our country, the country that I know and love, is part of. It's horrifying to me that more people aren't doing what we need to do. We need to speak out, we need to stand together, and we need to call out the inequities and the horrible things that are happening at the hands of our current federal administration. And I, for one, as an immigrant, I want people to understand this is the face of an immigrant. We are all immigrants. I came to this country when I was 6 months old. I was adopted by a loving family. I put myself through college. I started my own business. I have lived the American dream, and I have a responsibility to pay it forward. And there were so many people that I have never met that have given me this opportunity. And honestly, if not being able to come to America, I would be dead. And I jokingly say I turned out pretty good. But I say that in all seriousness, because if you give people the same basic humanity and kindness and love that we all deserve, we can all thrive.
All right. Well, Laurie, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You all are going to make me cry. Well, first off, I do want to pay proper respects. Obviously, I am not Rhode Island Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea, but if you didn't have a chance to read her bio on page 23, please do. I want to just read a sentence that Rhode Island Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea was sworn in on January 6, 2015, making history as the first Hispanic elected to statewide office in New England. And I am so sorry she is not here to join us, but she is an incredible woman, and so we owe her a round of applause for being a first in her state. Oh, well, thank you so much, Casey. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I know that you all know Casey is doing an incredible job as our DPO chair. Yeah, give her a round of applause. And we know that it's a bit like herding cats, but she's doing a great job of keeping us focused and on track here in Oregon so that we can take the White House back. And I want to thank the DPO leadership and all of their staff for allowing me to come and share my story with you all today. So, I'm getting a little bit older, and some of you may have a bucket list, and I do too. And I'm proud to say I've accomplished some of those things on my bucket list, but there's still quite a few more things I want to do. But I can tell you, going on CNN was never on my bucket list. Sometimes in the world, you feel alone. I felt alone. And you kind of, the way that you perceive the world and the values that you hold, I just kept asking myself, why aren't there more people especially people in my previous party, that are not speaking out against the most vile president that this country has ever endured. And yeah. And as you can see, I decided that I was going to speak out. So in that first part of that video, in the very small clip, that's when I announced my party affiliation. And I want to know, does anyone know where I made that announcement? Emerge! And do we have some Emerge graduates, member? You look at it, I need to see all my Emerge ladies. Right on. You know, when I was a Republican, I so wanted to go through Emerge, and of course I couldn't. But I did the second best thing. I got to have my grand unveiling moment at an Emerge graduation. And I don't know if Jillian Shoney is here, but I want to thank her and Emerge, because it was kind of like, hey, this Republican who's changing her party wants to come and speak at your graduation. And she let me. So it was, you know, when I got up and spoke, the graduates were like, why is she here? I was like, you might be wondering why I'm here. And I said, I'm here to announce my party affiliation change. And they all cheered and clapped, as you could see. And I said, but wait, I didn't say what party I was changing to. But I think they got the message. Let's see. So why did I change my party? I'm sure you all know. I mean, I can sum it up in one word: Trump. So I simply could not take one more moment of being associated with a party that prided itself in treating immigrants like criminals and children like animals. As you know, our country is and was spinning out of control. And when Trump started attacking immigrants and dehumanizing us, I simply could not take it any longer. So on a quiet Saturday morning, I got up, I went to my computer, logged onto the voter registration page, and simply clicked. And with a single click, I changed my party registration. Thank you. So I'm going to swear, I hope you're not offended, but this was my act of defiance. It was my fuck you to Trump. So for me, this was a very personal decision. It was a decision about who I am, what I believe in, and what are my core values. And as our previous speaker said, I believe that if you don't stand up for something, then you stand for nothing. And like all of you here today, I'm standing up for Oregon, for our country, for what is right and just, and the social change that we so urgently need. I'm so proud and so honored to stand with all of you here today and the Democratic Party of Oregon. I know what it's like to be different. I know what it's like to have people hate you because of the color of your skin. I know what it's like to be tolerated but not truly accepted. I know what it's like when people want to keep you small and invisible, but I also know what it's like to find your voice and to stand your ground. There's too much at stake right now, and it's going to take every single one of us to turn back the tide of hate, intolerance, and injustice that has been ushered in by the current federal administration. As a woman, a business owner, a mother, an immigrant, and a person of color, I could not condone the misogyny, the racism, the unethical and immoral behavior, and the propaganda that is being spread like a disease by Trump and his allies. I fear for the safety of our country, for human rights, for women's rights, the environment, and the uncertainty of our future. As a county commissioner, I have found my place for my passion and my values, and I'm using my power and my voice to tackle our community's most pressing issues, like finding solutions to poverty. People ask me often, what is the most challenging or surprising thing that you found about being a county commissioner? And I never thought that I'd be saying this, but it's fighting the federal government. I mean, who would have thought? But From, as previously mentioned, from Title 10 to our sanctuary status to protecting LGBTQ plus communities to preventing warehousing of houseless individuals, we have had to fight hard to hold on to federal funding streams to protect our most vulnerable residents. So before I was a Multnomah County Commissioner, I was a city councilor for the city of Gresham, and I'm so proud that we have Eddie Morales as one of our Gresham city councilors. So I learned a lot about what it takes to run the 4th largest city in Oregon. Wastewater, transportation, kind of like Treasurer Tobias was talking about numbers, really important. But transportation, garbage, roads, economic development, and the built environment are all so incredibly important as what the Treasurer's Office does. But I was drawn to the work of what the county does. The county provides the largest safety net in the state of Oregon. And the truth was, I simply wanted to help people. And I knew that I could make the biggest impact at the county. My office has worked with culturally specific and responsive organizations and legal partners to offer trainings for community members to learn about their rights if they're encountered by ICE. Our board has supported legal services and representation not for 1 but 2 years because we know that this disproportionately impacts our communities. And I saw my colleague, I think Commissioner Vega-Peterson, are you here? There she is. Commissioner, stand up. Give her a round of applause. So I am running for re-election, but that's not what I'm talking about. But what I want to say is when I'm talking to people on the phone, we have an incredible board of county commissioners. We have the same values. We don't always agree, but we are collaborative, we are respectful, and we truly care for one another. And I call each of these women my friends. And I tell you that you know that it's really important to have a high-functioning government. And it's such a pleasure to serve with Commissioner Vega-Peterson and all of the other commissioners. So thank you, Jessica. So we've held strong on our status as a sanctuary county, and we've been engaged in legal battles to protect funding opportunities. But even those efforts have their limitations. We've seen families that are too afraid to show up for doctor's appointments, women too fearful to go to court to seek protection from domestic violence abusers, and families too afraid to go to the courthouse for custody proceedings. We cannot allow our communities to be divided because of the hateful actions of the current administration. But I believe at the local level, we can make a difference, and I wanted to share a couple of things that we're doing through my office. So we have something called the Construction Diversity Equity Fund. This is a set-aside of 1% of our capital projects for apprenticeships for women and communities of color so that they have access to family wage jobs in the trades. In fact, yeah, we should clap for that. In fact, we're building a new behavioral health and housing project in downtown Portland, and this will be the first project that will actually utilize this new legislation. Our Legal Services Day helps folks have fines and fees be removed for low-level offenses. We all know how challenging that is. Once those start accumulating, it's nearly impossible to ever recover from them. But every other month, we have a workshop where attorneys, judges come, and folks can get their criminal offenses removed so that they can get a driver's license and so that they can get housing and get access to jobs. And as co-chair of the local Public Safety Coordinating Council's Jail Use Reduction Subcommittee, it's a long title, I've been working with public safety partners to develop strategies like the Legal Services Day and bench probation so that we can reduce our reliance on our jail system. We all know how expensive that is, and by diverting people into programs that more appropriately address their needs like mental health and addiction services, we know that those are proven strategies that not only reduce crime, but they also strengthen communities. I'm also leading on Multnomah County's effort for the 2020 census, which will appropriate nearly $900 billion each year across the country. and hopefully will result in one more congressional representative for Oregon. So let me be clear, this is what I say about the census. This is about power and money. The census is incredibly important to us because it determines our funding allocations for things like school lunches, highway planning. We're going to have a great breakout on transportation, housing vouchers, and critical medical care. So this is a statewide effort. We will all rise together. I'm looking forward to working with all of our 36 counties across the state to obtain a complete count, especially in our hard-to-count communities that include low-income residents, people of color, renters, children, and seniors. So I believe that our world needs to have more people who feel empowered and who can think for themselves and stand up to the bullies of the world. I'm committed to doing what I can for the future of my daughters and their children. We live in a global society, and we cannot continue to behave as if our actions do not have a ripple effect on the rest of the world. We are seeing this unfold nearly every day, whether you're talking about climate justice, trade wars, or tragedies like we are seeing in Syria. But I believe that if we hold our values and our ethics above all else, we can meet these challenges head on. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to Kirsten Hunter and all of the Nasty Women Get Shit Done. Are any of you here? Where are they? I had the chance to meet with Kirsten, and I fell in love with her, and all of the women there. So I want to thank you and your organization for articulating so beautifully for what I think embodies the Democratic Party. I'm so proud to belong to a party where all people are equal, where love wins, where Black Lives Matter, where immigrants and refugees are welcome, where disabilities are respected, where women are in charge of their bodies, where people and planet are valued over profit, and where diversity is celebrated. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my story with you this morning. I hope you have a great summit, and I look forward to visiting with my old friends and meeting new ones as well. Thank you.
See why I'm happy she's my commissioner? Thank you so much, Commissioner Stegman. And thank you, Attorney General Rosenblum, Labor Commissioner Hoyle, and Treasurer Reed. You guys are awesome. Before we close out, we have a short video, special message from Representative Tiffany Mitchell that we'd like to share. Guys, you have that queued up? There we go.
Hi, Democrats. Thanks for coming to the summit this weekend. I'm sorry that I can't be there with you, but earlier in session this year, I made the decision that I wanted to become a living kidney donor, and that I planned on doing that in the interim, which is where I am right now in the hospital, about ready to go into surgery. And by the time you see this message, I will very likely be recovering at home. So I'm sorry that I can't be there today. What you may or may not know is that right now I am the subject of a recall effort from a group called Timber Unity, which is an extremist right-wing group that was actually invited to the White House earlier this year by Donald Trump. This group is using me as their test case to see if they can recall a brand new state legislator who took a stand for climate change. That's right, they're not trying to recall me because I broke the law or abused my power, but because I took a strong stand against climate change and because I supported the Student Success Act, which allows us to invest finally into our K-12 public education system to reverse decades of inequities. We can't let them win. They are again using me as their test case, and if they are successful in that recall, then it will mean that they will attempt to recall every single legislator, Democratic legislator, in swing districts all across Oregon, imperiling the progress that we have made. And we can't let that happen. This is going to be a long, hard road for me to try to beat back this recall, and I need all the help that I can get. If you'd like more information, I'd like to give it to you, and we'd like you to please pull out your phones right now. Yep, pull out your phones and text Tiffany, Tiffiny, again that's Tiffiny, to 484848. Again, that number is 484848. And we'll get you all the information that you need. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate that support. Finally, the reason that I am being so public with my organ donation is because I think living organ donation is an incredibly important thing that I would like to encourage other people to consider themselves. If just 1 in 10,000 people decided to become a living organ donor, we could eliminate the waiting list for kidneys in this country. And that's incredible. And so I would like to encourage everybody here who thinks that that might be something they're interested in to please get the Donate Life Northwest information that is here at the summit this weekend and to consider it themselves. Thank you again so much. I hope you guys have a great summit, and I look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail. Go Democrats!
Our thanks to Tiffany Mitchell and the best to her recovery, and let's shut down that recall, shall we? I believe there's more information out in some of the foyer on Hello? Okay. Imagine a piece of paper can turn off a mic. That's great. Okay. All right, we're just about to get going. A couple of notes. Once again, your lanyards, keep them handy. They have your further meal tickets to get into the events. And if anybody is having to head home today and leaving this weekend, we'd like to get the lanyards back. Be responsible and recycle, that kind of thing. There are specially marked boxes where you can do that. Once again, a reminder, you may see the press here this weekend with their pink badges. And in about 15 minutes or so, at 9:45, 9:50, the first workshop panels of the summit will begin. They'll be held in the Great Hall, Heritage, and Landmark rooms across the way over there. And if you need any help at all, ask a volunteer if you need help getting there. We've got some great innovative thinkers who've traveled a long way to be here. We've got people from all over the country. And we are live streaming and recording all the panels. So don't fret if there are panels you don't make it to, because you will be able to see them. Your first session, the 9:45 panels are Si Se Puede, Immigrant Rights in Oregon. Yeah. The Road to Milwaukee, Delegate Selection for the 2020 Democratic National Convention. Housing Justice in 2019, Where We Go From Here. And finally, Building a Future-Ready Transportation System. You'll have a few minutes to chat and catch up before the panels begin, but I'd get going over there, and I'll see you back here at 11:15 for our lunch with our congressional delegation. Thank you, everybody.